Okay, hello everybody, and what's up? I am here live with you all right now. Hope you enjoyed that little, sort of Sonic the Comic preview video. I created that for the anniversary good few years ago now. We've got quite a lot of people here in the chat box already, so I'm just going to scroll it up and then scroll down. As the title of the video suggests, this is very much a Q&A video. It doesn't have to solely be Sonic the Comic related. I've also got the chat box on the video itself this time, so you can see yourself live here on the video. But before I go any further with reading the chat box, just want to say thank you everyone for making the channel hit this incredible milestone of 20,000 subscribers. We're actually on our way, over halfway now nearly, to 21,000 within the space of a week, which is incredible. Completely blown away by the support, positive feedback of the channel. It really is absolutely incredible. You know, I remember just getting to 1,000 subscribers and being completely, really blown away and impressed with just managing to reach 1,000. But to hit 20,000, that's to me, that's a huge milestone, and I couldn't be more grateful for hitting it. It really is incredible to think 20,000 people have clicked subscribe to content I'm creating. It's incredible, it really is. The channel's also not long just hit a total of 7 million video views, which is absolutely outstanding. 7 million, that's incredible. The history of Fleetway Supersonic video alone has now just gone over 500,000 views, which is now my most popular video on the channel. It's finally got to #1. The origin of how Sonic got his green eyes has been #1, the most #1 viewed video on the channel for about 2 years now, and that video alone is nearly at 300,000 views. But now Supersonic has indeed taken over and is now #1 on the channel, and I'm really glad people really enjoy that video that I made a few years ago. Admittedly, looking back at it now, it's not my greatest work. I've upgraded some of my equipment and mics and stuff since then, and you know, if you've watched some of the newer Robotnik retrospective videos, I think they actually are more higher quality, but I'm glad people are enjoying the Supersonic one regardless. Anyway, let's check the chat box. So we'll scroll right up here. We've got apologies if I mispronounce anyone's names. And what I'm going to do for the video, I'm going to start playing us some various Sonic themed attractions that I visited over the years. If you've been a part of some previous live streams, you may remember some of these videos. And then after this one's done, if we're still live, maybe I'll put some Sonic the Comic on as well. Let me just make sure the volume for the video is not higher than my voice. So we're going to start right out with some Joy Poller stuff. Just let me know if the video is too loud and I'll make it quieter if it's overpowering my voice. Anyway, to the chat box. So we've got Anna Coletta, Sonic Fan 356, Gianni, thank you for the congratulations. Cash, Senuluk TV, Groziel Dude, Zach, Chocolate Chip Studios, Android Gamer, Gundam, Deathly, Zero the Hedgehog, hello, Tiago. We've got some regulars reappearing back here. I will eventually scroll down and make it to everyone's comments. Just, you know, might get a little bit swamped in with some of the comments here, but I will scroll down and reply to everything as best as I can. Sometimes the chat box glitches a bit, and when you scroll down, it just immediately goes to the end of the chat box, so I have to sometimes scroll up. So if I do happen to miss your question, just type it in there again. But I can see straight away we've appeared right at the top here. We've got a very generous super chat from, I hope I pronounced this right, Taiwan Buskak. Apologies, I've got a little bit of a cough. But thank you very much for the incredibly generous super chat, Taiwan. Really does appreciate it more than you know. Honestly, I can't thank you enough. Your generosity is incredible. Right, where was I in the chat box? Milestone, the guy Silver, hello. As I said, we've got a few regulars here. Ty Evan, you've asked a question and I almost missed it. It says, what was my favourite issue? and arc. My favourite issue is 27, which is the Sonic Terminator arc, the Sonic CD game adaptation. I don't know whether I'd say it's my favourite arc though. That's a really tough question. I don't know if I could choose a favourite arc, but some of my favourites would be Sonic CD, also Sonic and Knuckles game adaptation, Project Brutus arc, the Final Victory, Robotnik reigns supreme would be very high, and also Game Over. They're some of my absolute favourite arcs. Let's see what we've got here. Thank you for the congratulations to Guy Silver. You've got quite an interesting name here. Okay, I've got it. Electro Dragon. Thank you kindly for the congratulations. And I really appreciate your kind feedback that you've got there. Especially with the Supersonic and Robotnik Empire. Really appreciate that. I'm planning on, once we go into the next year, carrying on the Robotnik series that I've started. Carrying on from the Rise of Dr. Robotnik video. We've got another super chat here, which is pretty damn awesome. Aspiro 3M, thank you very kindly for our second super chat of the night. Absolutely incredible generosity here of a £10 super chat. Welcome to the live stream. And I will scroll back up to where I was. I think Sonic Fan 356 had a question that I was just about on. Opinion on STC Online? It's fine. It's fine as a fan continuation and as a non-canon source of material. The people behind it are obviously very passionate about Sonic the Comic, like I am myself and some of the fans here on the channel. But I solely look at it as a non-official fan continuation. It's not got the quality, of course, as the real Sonic the Comic, because it's not going to have. It's being created by people that aren't essentially being paid for their work and are of the same calibre as the professional writers and artists that were involved in Sonic the Comic. But as a fan project, yeah, it's fine. What do I think of the art on Sonic the Comic? Zero, it's incredible. Obviously some artists are more preferable than others. Richard Elson, in my opinion, is literally like the god of Sonic art. He's one of my favourite artists of all time. Even not just the Sonic related. Yeah. Senuk TV. What first comic did you read? The first, if you're asking, first issue of Sonic the Comic, it was actually 27, which is actually my favourite issue as well, way back in 1994. And it felt great. Kind of got me into the whole Sonic universe. Welcome T-Mac. Thank you for the congratulations. We've got Naruto here as well. Brozil, dude. I get this question a couple of times asking if I'm going to cover the Archie Sonic. I'm not going to, because there's enough channels out there that are covering it, I think, and I'm not really the hugest fan of it. So I don't think anyone, myself included, never commit to a project you're not comfortable with or positive about, because if you're not positive about committing to a project, you're not going to be happy and you're going to, you know, not do a good job, honestly. So no, a channel I've seen that does a pretty good job covering the Archie comics is Mega Beatman, I believe it's called. Mega Beatman Reviews. He does a pretty good job. I'd recommend that channel. Apologies to some of the non-English speakers here in the chat box. I've got some here that aren't typing in English. I think Spain, that is. I'll try to get back to some of these with the translator as best as I can, but you can see the chat box is filling up quite quick. Or if you yourself could quickly just copy and paste what you're saying into Google Translate and just paste it on there, that would be a real help for me. It's a little bit hard for me to do that while streaming. Right, we've just caught up to Spyro's super chat. DRK Ruben, thank you very kindly for the congratulations and also saying that the channel is underrated. I appreciate the kind feedback. I guess you know, some might look at it as like underrated, but to me, just reaching 20,000 is, you know, as I said at the start, absolutely mind-boggling how the channel has grown. But thank you. And Epic Wolf 64, hello. What do you think of Mario? Bulldog is asking. Mario's cool. I like Mario. Mario's got some of my favourite games. Especially in modern times, the last 10 years has been a lot better Mario games than it has Sonic games. Ouch. But the last Mario game I played, probably 3D World on the Switch. If you're talking about a platformer. However, I did pick up Mario Golf on the Switch as well, and I actually really enjoyed it. I'm not even a huge fan of golf really, but it was a lot of fun. Welcome Sonic Stefan. Hello there. Reviewer. My favourite comics are the Supersonic and Robotnik God arc. Yeah, great choices. Absolutely great choices. Rate Fleetway Sonic 1 through 10 stars. Well, I think he's got to get the full 10 stars, right? Okay, so yeah, I've answered that question about the art and also the online. Favourite issue of the Sonic Archie series? That's not been asked yet. You know, most people say they prefer the issues after Ian Flynn joined it, but I actually prefer quite a few of the issues before he joined it. And I can't remember. I think it was around the 70-ish issue mark where the roboticized version of Robotnik returns and tries to take over from the satellite. I actually really enjoyed that arc, and probably one of those issues there I'd probably say is my favourite. I can't think of the number off the top of my head though. Welcome Pink, I think it's Shib or Shibi, but welcome. I recognise you because you pop up quite a lot in the comments section, so thank you very much for being a loyal subscriber. The Sonic movie looks awesome, Sonic movie 2. Really looking forward to it. If anything, as I said before on the stream I did about it, it's as if the trailer looks too good, and I'm really hoping we don't get let down. But everything I've seen from it so far looks brilliant. Sonic Frontiers, it sounds good, it sounds like a good idea, but we'll wait and see. Tread with caution on that one. Sonic Forces looked like a brilliant game. In fact, as I said on the previous streams, you go back and look at the trailers for Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces looked awesome. And then we got the finished product, and yeah, so let's wait and see. Thank you very much for the kind compliment over my voice. It's, you know, very kind of you. Someone asking about the Frontiers, T-Mac. Yes, I've just answered that. Robotnik will return someday as long as Sonic around. Yeah, I agree. I think as long as there is good, there will always be evil. And you cannot have Sonic without Robotnik. I don't think you'll ever truly be able to kill one or the other off. I just don't think it can ever happen. Like, even if you kill one of them off, they'll bring it back. Bring them back some way or another. Okay, so Taiwan, you're saying though you brought a lot of attention to it. What was your reaction to the Super Sonic? Yeah, I got to admit, when the comments first started coming in about this, like before it got a lot of attention, I think the first couple of comments was like, oh, I've just seen, do you know that Supersonic is an FNF? And I didn't even know what FNF was at the time. This was about 3 weeks, month ago. At first I thought they were talking about Five Nights at Freddy. I was like, F&F? Supersonic's in that? That doesn't make sense. What's he talking about? And then, of course, I YouTubed it, saw it, and yeah, I was really impressed. The quality of it is, you know, being an animator is very hard work. If there's any animators or you know, artists in the chat box, I know firsthand it's not an easy job, and that is very well. That is really well done, animated. The Friday Night Funkin' animation for it. I didn't even know it was a rhythm game until I looked into it. I was like, surely this can't be right. A rhythm game? And I love rhythm games. I'm a huge fan of playing rhythm and music games. So yeah, I was really happy to see it. And as you've mentioned Porker there, that's how you know that people who made it are obviously fans of Sonic the Comic, or at least know their history, because they included it. And that was one of the things that Richard Elson, you know, main artist of Sonic the Comic, picked up as well. He noticed that he was really happy that they added Porker. Thank you, Sega, for the congratulations. We've got Sketchy. Hello there. So I will eventually get back to... I'm scrolling down, so I should get to all your people's comments eventually. So bear with me. For those that have joined and didn't hear my first message on it. Genesis, Sonic 1 and 2 on mobile. Oh, it's got to be the Genesis, or for us folk here in the UK, Mega Drive. This is the Hooters Sonic Forces promotion here, by the way. This was by far the best thing to come out of Sonic Forces, was the Hooters promotion. It's brilliant, by far. Do you like the IDW comics? It's not particularly my favourite Sonic spin-off or Sonic universe for it, but the artwork's pretty decent enough. And I can understand why there's quite a lot of fans for it. Welcome, Julia. Welcome, Lord Dupster. We have a question here. Do you remember what you was doing 23 years ago? Think about this. Let's work this out. So what are we, 2021? Well, I would have, of course, been at school, quite young. Yeah, that's all I can kind of probably the answer I can give you for that one. It would have been primary school. For what I was gaming around that time, I guess it probably would have been around the Mega Drive or Sega Saturn. Who do you think will win, Turbo Mecha Sonic or Fleetway Sonic? I think Fleetway Sonic will always find a way, right? What's your favourite Sonic canon world? You know, I'm quite a fan of the world from the OVA, to be honest. Don't know if I'd say it's my favourite, but that's one that's coming to the back of my mind right now. I do quite like the world they had in the OVA. But of course the Sonic the Comic world is of course brilliant as well. Fleetway Gaming? Hello there. Do you prefer... you have to probably spell that in what exactly that is to me. S3 Air or S3 Complete? Oh, I'm assuming you made Sonic 3, right? If it is, then I prefer Sonic 3 and Knuckles as one complete. What's your favourite Sonic boss from Classic and Modern? That's actually quite a good question. Would it be kind of cliche to say the ball and chain boss? I mean, I know probably most people will think of that. But to be honest with you, I quite like... I quite like the first boss, the Sonic 3. It's quite dramatic with the whole fortress dropping bombs at you, leading up to the waterfall where Robotnik appears from behind it. That's quite a good boss too, you know. Modern? That's another tricky one. Let's think. I quite like the Egg Viper from Sonic Adventure, or even the Egg Walker, which Tails fights. To be honest, whether I'd say they're my favourites, I might have to think about some more on that one. Ty is asking something you'd like to comment, because although you've loved STC for a while, you almost get caught off guard with the Master Emerald being one of the Chaos Emeralds. Yes, indeed, right? So the Sonic the Comic continuity has some slight deviations from the game continuity. Do you know the hit game? No, I'm not. I'm not sure on that one. Joe Mama. Well, we've got a Pokemon here with us, Tangler God. You have come from the world of watching my videos. Well, thank you kindly. In your opinion, what would be the best way to end? Well, that's actually a really good and quite a tough question. I don't know if I could do it justification by thinking of it really quickly off the top of my head right here. I think they did a really good job with what they had, with how the Sonic Adventure 1 arc, they did kind of tie up a lot of loose ends, but if it was to continue, I think they could have done the Sonic Adventure 2 arc and had that one wrap it up at the end. If it was like a 10-part story, they was like, let's just say they were commissioned 10 parts, Nigel was writing or whatever, Richard Elson being the artist, of course, and that was how they was going to tie up and fill in the whole game. I think with 10 parts, that would be a real good way, and the way you could have a true send-off, no, even more so than what we got. But I'm probably sure I could think up of something a lot better in my head with a bit more time. But as this is a live stream and I'm trying to get for everyone, I won't spend too much on it. Maybe a future video one day. Where am I? Well, I live in the United Kingdom, or whatever you want to call it. Great Britain, England, whatever. That's where I am. Welcome, Uncool Skater. I think that's how you've written your name there. No worries about being late. We're still going strong right here. Nebula. What is the rarest Sonic plush I own? I don't think it's the most valuable, but I think maybe the Sega World Sydney, Australia Dr. Robotnik, which is the large version. There was 3 sizes, a small, medium and large. I have the large version, which is mint. The most valuable may well be the Soap Shoes Sonic plush. I don't think it's as rare, because they do pop up from time to time, but they do sell for a lot of money. You subbed to me when I was at 200, Dante Michel. Well, you've been around for a long time. That's pretty awesome. Just want to recommend a Sonic fan game, Sonic Time Twisted. It has a lot of references. Okay, I might have to check that out. I will have to check that out, Tyre. Thank you for the recommendation. I plan to do some more game streaming very soon. Hopefully next week we're going to do some game streaming. I haven't done any streaming of any Sonic games for quite a long time. I think Sonic Heroes might have been the last one, which was quite earlier this year. But it's a great way for me to do some gaming while also chatting to you guys, and it gives you something to watch. You love IDW, but Fleetway is your favourite? Well, you have very good taste. Chili dogs. Who is your favourite Sonic the Comic villain can't be Robotnik. Okay, so if you'd have just said, what is my favourite villain from Sonic other than Robotnik, that would be very easy and I'd say Metal Sonic. But if you're solely talking about Sonic the Comic, it would be a tie-up between either Commander Brutus or the Emperor Metallics, which is technically Metal Sonic as well. Welcome, Anna Coletta. Almir Chan. So you've just joined, by the looks of it, because I did bring up Robotnik's video series eventually. And the answer to your question is I am going to start work on the continuation to this in the new year. Yes, I've got part 2 to do, which is going to be carrying on from where I left off part 1, which will be like going into after the fall of the Death Egg, and we'll be going to that eventually. I hope to have a complete playlist for Robotnik's story, and it's going to be all mixed into one long video afterwards at the end. It's going to be the complete history. That's the goal I've got with it, and I will eventually get it done. I do apologise that it's taken so long. Honestly, I've got kind of 2 things with making those sort of videos, right? I wait until they reach a certain threshold with views, then I will continue it. Pretty much solely because they are a tremendous amount of work. If anyone's seen that Robotnik video I did back in October, which was From Origin to Dictate to the Rise of Dr. Robotnik, that video took about 2 months to make, and I was working on that every other day. It took ages. So once it reaches a certain threshold, which it nearly has, I'm going to start work on it hopefully in January, and we'll get this done. My goal would be to get the complete thing, the series completed next year. That's the goal. Just gonna have a little drink. Okay, let's carry on. Yeah, as I said, I will finish the Robotnik series. I'm enjoying it a lot, and eventually the goal is, after Robotnik's done, to go on to other characters. The previous comment referring to Sonic 3 Complete and Sonic 3 Air. Okay, I've not even heard of this mod. Not heard of it. I'm not too familiar with some of the Sonic mods, especially some of the newer ones. Or when I say new, like 5 years or newer. But I will have to check that out. If Fleetway Sonic was indestructible, what is the best way you would defeat him? Probably if you can't destroy him, is probably to have some sort of impenetrable prison that he will hopefully not be able to escape from. Obviously we've seen that trapping him in a time sphere, we saw in Sonic the Comic, won't work. So it needs to be something completely impenetrable, and I really don't know what would do that. Either that, or he needs to be under some complete sort of magic spell where he never wakes up. Something like that, like permanently in a comatose state. I think that's the only way you're going to probably be able to defeat him. Favourite STC character would probably be Sonic the Hedgehog. Bit generic answer, I know, but if I wasn't to say Sonic, it would be Robotnik. Is there anything from the Sonic games that you wish STC had included or expanded on more? That's a good question. I'm not that sure what I would like, actually, because they did such a good job adapting from the games and also making it its own thing. You know what? I'm actually not that sure. Maybe this is really clutching straws here. Maybe have a more expanded fight scene between Sonic and the Death Egg robot from Sonic and Knuckles. Like, I think you could have probably turned that into an entire issue, that fight. I guess, unfortunately, due to limitations of time restraints and also page restrictions, it could only kind of be fit on like 1.5 pages. Super Towers in S3 Air is OG. Well, that's pretty cool. T-Mac, what other game franchises do you like other than Sonic? So, big fan of Resident Evil. Biohazard, also it goes under the same name. A couple of years ago really got into Dragon Quest, which I'd say I'm still quite into now. As I said earlier, I do quite like Nintendo. So a lot of Mario games. Zelda, I know some of these answers are a bit generic. Breath of the Wild is one of my favourite games. Before that, it was actually Wind Waker, a game I really, really love too. And at the moment, I'm playing through, or kind of haven't played it for a little while, Tales of Arise, which is actually a really good game, and I'm enjoying it quite a lot. Thank you for the positive feedback. Haha Animation? I think that's your name there. Okay, so I've already answered your question, Sonic 356 over the rarest plush. Am I possibly going to do a part 2 of the... Yeah, honestly, the reason I didn't do part 2 is I wasn't very happy with the quality that part 1 came out. So eventually, I'm going to redo the whole thing with voiceover instead and have it much more, a lot more detailed video, because I actually was able to get collaborations on that list video from Richard Elson and Nigel Kitching. So that's another goal I'd like to hope to get in 2022. It's good to have goals. Is there any Sonic the Comic fan games? I don't actually know. There may well be. Some other people in the comments might know that, Diego. Have you heard of Sonic before the sequel and Sonic after the sequel? No, I haven't heard that one. Game stream Friday Night Funkin'. Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea, and I have been considering doing that. I've recently upgraded my broadband, so I should be able to do some more game streaming with high quality stream rate. I'm not sure how you'd play that though. Do you need a joypad or can it be done with a keyboard? Sorry, I just dropped my pen there. Hatsune Miku, yeah, of course. Sonic Stefan said that's a game series. As I said earlier, I do like rhythm games. I do like Hatsune Miku. Welcome, Geordie Watson. Just got to your comment. Thank you very much for the congratulations, Annibal Soster Jr. Hello there. Have I read all the Archie comics? I've read most of them. There's a Sonic fan game called Sonic World. It's a bit like Generation, but with Chow Garden. Interesting. Sounds interesting, Tangler God. Random Seer, hey, just started watching the content and you've already hit 20k. Well, thank you very kindly for the positive feedback, and thank you for joining the live stream and also the channel. Welcome aboard. It's great to have you here. Can you do Lord Sidewinder or Metallics? So I've done a Metallics video already, unless you're after a specific like retrospective video. Maybe Lord Sidewinder. I don't think he'd get many views or interest though. Most people don't even know who he is. Is there any characters you don't really like in STC? You know, someone asked this on a stream quite a while ago. And I'm gonna say... I mean, an obvious one would probably pop up would be Fabienne Vane, but I think most people would say that, and he was wrote to be annoying and for people to dislike him. Princess Calumpus from Shanazar. Really scratching the bottom of the barrel here. Okay, so if I was to say a more mainstream character in Sonic the Comic, which I don't like, you know, I've never been too big a fan on Techno, and she was like quite a mainstream character. I don't hate the character, but she's definitely not one of my favourites. If EXE and Fleetway got in a fight and one wins, we would still be screwed. Yeah, exactly. It's like it reminds me of that trailer for the 2004 film Alien vs Predator. It was like, whoever wins, we losers. How excited would you be if they were to continue the comics? An Epic Wolf saying, I would be cautious. Because well, number one, it would no way be the same quality as the original run. Whether many of the original staff would rejoin, that is another thing. Nigel Kitching has stated that he's never going to write Sonic ever again now, but you know, money talks, right? If enough money's offered to someone, they may well return. And you've got to remember, the comic industry has changed a lot since the 90s. There's so many more stricter regulations and rules now, and I really don't think the quality would be as good. Not because what the writers are, because of the rules they'd have to strictly abide by. It would have to be toned down, very much toned down. And so it would be great, it would be awesome for it to continue, but it would definitely be cautious. But the chances of it ever continuing are very, very slim. And some of the original staff have unfortunately passed away, so there's that to factor in as well. How would Neo Metal Sonic from Heroes look? That's a good question. Can you imagine Richard Elson's artwork of him drawing Neo Metal Sonic? That would be awesome. Fleetway be cool as heck. I totally agree with you, Candence Rain. Do you think Shanazar arc and STC would have been more memorable if... Well, I mean, Richard Elson probably did like 70% of the artwork for Shanazar. I mean, I don't think Mick McMahon did that much from it. I know he did a few issues and covers for it, but he didn't do the conclusion arc for it, nor did he do the beginning arc, which was Richard Elson doing both. I know Nigel Kitching did a strip in there as well, with both the writing and art. Nigel Dobbyn technically did the very first issue going into it. So, no, to be honest, I don't think it would make much difference if Richard did the strips that Mick McMahon did, because Mick McMahon, some of the ones that stick out to me was the Medusa arc and the one with the plaques. I don't think it would make much difference if Richard did those ones. Maybe he would look the same, but a bit shorter to fit Sonic's autonomy more. Interesting. So there isn't really an STC fan game. I suppose the Friday Night Funkin' is probably the closest we're going to get for now of there being a Sonic the Comic fan game. So Annabelle's saying that you're kind of working on one. Well, that would be interesting to see. What if Johnny Lightfoot never died? Interesting. but I think him dying added great weight and character development for Sonic and the other characters in that arc. So it's kind of like his death was needed to show a lot of growth of the characters and move the plot forward, and it also made Chaos seem like a absolute monster of a threat and a dangerous threat. One that, like, you know, he's a murderer. He will kill you. He doesn't care about you or your life. You're thinking of adding the adaptation arcs, connecting them together into one, maybe some other issues. Interesting. Very interesting. Do you like the Sonic movie too? The trailer looks awesome. Can't say whether I'm going to like the film yet because I haven't seen it. But if the trailer's anything to go by, I think it's going to be awesome. Yes, Casanovas' work was really awesome. He was actually one of the, I think, best artists for the first 50 issues of Sonic the Comic. Obviously, I'd say Richard Elson's first, but Casanovas may well be a second place. He did artwork, I think, up to issue 54, I think was his final artwork. Unfortunately, he's passed on now, so... What do you think a game that takes place in the STC universe would look like? I think it would be great to see it as a 2D platformer. I think that would be awesome. I don't know if I'd want to risk doing a 3D world. It could work, but I'd like to see a 2D platformer. One where you fight, like have a really long game. Let's just say it's got 12 levels and there's a boss at every act, and you can have some of the most well-known characters as bosses from it. So, you know, Metallics, Supersonic may well be the last boss, perhaps. I guess that would make sense, right? Robotnik's in there as well, of course. You can't not have Robotnik. Give Brutus a boss fight as well. Yeah, that would be awesome. Metamorphia. I mean, heck, it would be great, awesome if you just give the game 20 levels. I mean, that would be pretty awesome, right? Do you think they could release a side comic for the 65 years Sonic? Yeah, I think that would be awesome. If they'd have done like a side story of the Robotnik reigns supreme arc with what the world was like 65 years later under Robotnik's rule. And I'm getting, if any of you are familiar with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2003 series, they did an episode like that. I can't remember what the episode was called, but it was where Donatello goes into the future by a certain amount of years, and the whole planet is controlled by Shredder, and literally the whole world is miserable. I think the episode is called Tomorrow something. I can't remember, but it's honestly one of the best episodes from the series. That would be a great example of how they could do something like that. You saw the F&F game with the Fleetway Supersonic mod. It was obviously awesome. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? The decap attack stories are awesome. Now, I can shamelessly admit that I never really cared for them as a kid, and I actually really only solely was interested in the Sonic stories from the Sonic the comic, like I imagine a lot of people were. It wasn't until some years later that I have reread them, and I actually really enjoyed them a lot, and it's pretty crazy to think just how much Nigel Kitching got away with on those strips, of just how adult some of the violence and some of the jokes were in it. It's hilarious. He's very famously known for saying that, you know, Sega was quite... They had some rules and regulations you had to abide by when writing Sonic, but they said when it comes to decap attack, you know, rip this guy's head off and show blood pouring out of it, you know, they don't care. You do whatever you want for it. Decap attack to Nigel Kitching, he described to it as it was his baby. And when you read it now, you can totally see it. What if Tails was the mascot? That'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? I would be interested to see how if Towers was the first character. Welcome, Woody and Donald Duck 2020. Great to have you here, and thank you for being a fan. It's very much appreciated. Kaylee June, here is the shout out that you are asking for. Welcome. If Sonic the Comic was still around, what would it be like? So I kind of covered this about 10 minutes ago, 10-15 minutes ago, when someone asked me what would it be like. I don't know, really, it would be interesting. As I said before, it might be a much more watered down version, I think, than what we've got. I'd like to say I'm wrong, and hopefully it wouldn't be, but I'd like to sit here and say, yeah, it's just as awesome and great as it was back in its original run, and it's, you know, they're able to go all out on it. But I can't see if Sonic the Comic was still around, it being okay now for Sonic holding a gun, for instance, whereas what he has done in Sonic the Comic, I don't think that would, you know, be allowed. Okay, this is another recommendation, but you wanted to mention the Sonic Villains fan film. Interesting. I think I've heard of this one. First Sonic comic I ever read was issue 27, back in 1994. I was very young. Just have a little bit of a drink to clear my throat a bit. Bear with me. You'll never get used to the chaos in STC. He's so different from the game, but you still like him. Yeah, Richard and Nigel really made Chaos their own thing, right? Only very loosely basing him from the Sonic Adventure game. Okay, so I did cover Sonic the Comic Online a little bit on Chan. I'm not terribly a big fan of it, but it's great that you've got such big fans of it out there to do a fan continuation. You know, obviously it's not official. It is great that there's that strong fans out there that they've gone and made their own fan-made continuation. So I'm not a huge fan of the Exit Sonic storyline because it uses the online continuity as its base more so as opposed to the original Sonic the Comic. But as a product solely for the online continuity, you know, it's fine. Johnny's death was basically when the main character from One Punch punches you. Yeah, right. Top 3 Sonic games, okay. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure 1, either the Dreamcast or GameCube one, to be honest, they're both awesome. And probably Sonic 1. No, you know, amazingly, I have never really been into comics of other franchises. With, you know, obviously everyone had the occasional. You British readers out there, we had the Beano or the Dandy. So, you know, occasionally maybe a Beano or a Dandy, but I was never really into comics. Really not. Sonic the Comic was the really one and only exception I had with collecting comics. Never really was into Marvel, never really was into DC comics. So I may have had an occasional one or two from them. Just thinking at the back of my mind now, I did actually have a few Simpsons comics as well at the time. But, you know, I never really had more than 2 or 3 of others. So, no. It wasn't until I was older that I more so got into manga instead and read manga. But no, I've never really been into comics, so Sonic the Comic is definitely the one exception. Sonic must be the most sketched video game character ever. If you had an idea to make a Sonic comic book, what would it be about? Okay, so I suppose without the exception of... I don't know, let's think about this. So if you was to do the continuation, you know, it would be great to see the real downward spiral of Dr. Robotnik and just how insane he truly went and what was going on in his head, which I know was originally going to be the plan from Nigel Kitching. But how great would it also be to just have a book about the complete history of Sonic the comic and, you know, production artwork, stills, and having collaborations from, you know, the writers and artists who are still with us as like one huge annual collector's edition book. That would be awesome. Yeah, the Sonic train's awesome, right? It really is. Thanks for the subscription, Sketchy. See your comment there. So Tangler, you're asking who was stronger, Robotnik reigns supreme, Robotnik or Super? It's got to be Robotnik. Robotnik literally had no limitations. He could literally snap his fingers and, you know, you could blow up, essentially. He literally was, his power was limitless. Whereas as amazingly powerful as Supersonic is, even he has his limitations. Robotnik has none, other than if you have the Grey Emerald and you know how to control it. So that video's come to an end. Let us switch to Sonic the comic, because of course we've got to have, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to skip it to... you know what? As we're talking about the Robotnik reigns supreme arc, okay, that's as good as I can closely get to it because the video file was huge. Let's start it here, and we can have the Robotnik reigns supreme arc before us. One of my favourite arcs from the whole series. I thank you kindly for typing 1 in there. Did you happen to have a preference? I don't really think I had a preference, really. I think they were both pretty awesome. It's a pretty shame that Dennis the Menace has been greatly toned down now, though, compared to what he used to be like. Thank you for subscribing, Kaylee June. Much appreciated. Do Japanese audiences acknowledge the name Robotnik? That's a good question, and I don't really think they do. Sonic isn't as popular out there as he would be in the West anyway. So, I mean, I really doubt it. I probably think they just the majority of people probably just look at him and think Eggman. There may be some out there that think Robotnik. I probably think their biggest exposure to the name Robotnik would have been from the Sonic movie when it was released out there, because he's obviously called Robotnik. But the video game Dr. Robotnik's Bean Machine wasn't even released in Japan. It wasn't until it was a part of Sonic Mega Collection on the GameCube that Japanese players even got a chance to play it. The thing you want to see most from STC is concept art, if there is any. So, if you go on my channel, here you go, and go back a year, I did a video on lots of alternate concept artwork for cover artworks that could have been on Sonic the Comic if those were chosen instead. It's quite a long video, I think it's about 2 hours long, but I cover quite a lot of concept artwork from Sonic the Comic in there. So if you want to see some more videos, yeah, go back about a year. You should be able to find it, because I think the title was Sonic Covers You've Never Seen Before. It was something like that. You'll probably really enjoy it. Do you think the Grey Emerald could possibly have helped against Supersonic? I don't think it could have, to be honest, because Supersonic and then again, it's hard to say. I mean, it could have been wrote in a way that maybe it could have, but Supersonic was kind of like his own living organism. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Robotnik was literally completely powered from the emeralds. You take the power out of Sonic and it's its own entity, being Supersonic. You take the power away from Robotnik and it's just the power that's gone. You know, and he's lost all of his powers. So I don't think it would have. You'd have loved to have seen a Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation. So would I. It would have been awesome to see Richard Elson's artwork drawing Shadow the Hedgehog. That would have been incredible. This is actually a very good question. Alma Chan is asking, who is more dangerous, God Robotnik or Suicidal? Technically, in terms of raw power alone, God Robotnik is the most powerful, definitely the most powerful. However, his mental state hasn't completely gone, so as we've seen in that story, he can be reasoned with. And with that, I'm going to probably say Suicidal Robotnik was the most dangerous, because he literally wanted to kill everything and everyone, even himself at the end. So he's not as powerful, but I would say he is the most dangerous. Yes, it's very interesting what you're saying there, Stefan, and I was always very surprised that Sonic's more popular in the West than he is in Japan. When you ask people Sega in Japan, the people, they're probably going to say Hatsune Miku, much more so than Sonic the Hedgehog. Of course, there are fans of Sonic out there, but you know, it's a lot more popular in the West, which, you know, that might be a reason why they hired Ian Flynn as a writer for this Sonic Frontiers game. You know, when you look at it like that. Welcome, Kieran Kelly, I think. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. You got a blue hat Mario there. Hello. What's the objectively worst written major character? Oof, that's a good question as well. We're getting a lot of good questions here today. Some tough ones. I wouldn't say the character is awful, but some of the way the character was wrote, I think maybe, yeah, this is really, like I said, clutching straws. But maybe Short Fuse could have been, just because he did get quite annoying as some of the series went on, with how he repeatedly reintroduced his origin story literally in every issue. But I don't know whether I'd say that's worst written, but maybe if I had to, I'd perhaps say him. There was a lot of death in the comics, so what do you think was the best on-panel death? So I know technically it weren't an official death, but I think the panel where Robotnik's completely obliterating towers in the Death Egg is probably the most dramatic and best one, because you literally see towers being completely disintegrated, which is pretty crazy. Worst panel on the worst on panel death? I'm not really that sure. Worst? I don't really think there was one I'd say is bad when in regards to death, to be honest. I'm not sure on that one. I don't think I can think of one that's bad. What was your first reaction to Fleetway Supersonic? Well, issue 27 was the very first issue I got, and Fleetway Supersonic, or Supersonic, whatever, he's actually in that issue. It was the prologue story where it introduced him, and at the time, I think obviously being very young, I thought that was the Supersonic that was in the games. Didn't really think no different of it, really. It wasn't until we got to the Running Wild arc that I was like, Christ, this Supersonic's, he's literally bloodthirsty and he will kill anyone. The 2-week wait for part 3 of the Running Wild arc was a very long 2 weeks, because it has such a dramatic cliffhanger on part 2 where Supersonic blows up the tornado and seemingly kills Tails, Amy and Johnny. And yeah. Thank you for the congratulations, Knights of Archronia. I think I've pronounced that right. We've got another, very quickly, as I know you've just joined, you're asking about the online continuation. I'm not terribly that big a fan of it, but as a fan-made, like, unofficial continuity, I think it's fine. You know, it's great to see fans out there that are so passionate about it that they're making their own fan-made, unofficial content of it. Doing a short fuse video, yeah. If you noticed when I did part 1 of the Rise video, you noticed I actually covered short fuse quite a lot in it, as his story very much intertwines with Robotnik. I kind of wanted to feature him a lot more in the Robotnik series. Thank you very much for joining, Uncool Skater. You may have already left by now, as I've just got to your comment, but thank you very kindly for dropping by. Scratch, firstly, welcome. You're asking, hey STCR, you have a question about the story overall. What is the real turning point of STC? I think you might get different answers depending on which fans you speak to. I think most fans probably will say the Running Wild arc, which is around the issue 80 mark. But for me, I honestly think the real turning point started around the Sonic CD arc, which I know some people might say it's not fully, the comic didn't really fully start its stride then, but to me it did. The series had been out a year, and we just started to get into a real good game adaptation arc. We'd got the ground set for what the actual continuity was going forward. We've got the origins of what the characters and what they are. For me, I would say that was the very beginning turning point for Sonic the Comic. Thank you also for the congratulations. What I did like about STC was the ability to take some of the less mainstream Sonic games. Yeah, I think CD has kind of become a mainstream one nowadays. It may not have been back in the day because the Mega CD was super expensive. It took me years before I managed to get a hold of one, and I was so jealous of anyone. I didn't know many that had a Mega CD anyway, but the ones that did have, I was really jealous that I couldn't get to play Sonic CD. Yeah, it's great to see former staff come back in and acknowledge some of the really popular fans out there that have done Tremendous work with the Sonic the Comic fan-made continuities. And this is the first time I've actually reached the end of the chat, which is pretty awesome. Welcome, Deanna. You have just joined us, and I've just reached the end, which gives me a chance to have a drink. Super vs Infinite. Oof. I'm not a big fan of Infinite, so I don't really like him. But he could be done better in the comics. It'd be an interesting way for them to do a fight between the two. But, I mean, Infinite gets beaten quite easy in the games, so is he really going to be able to have much of a match against Supersonic? I don't know. Welcome, future superhero KJS. Appreciate your kind feedback of saying you're a big fan. Much appreciated. Do you wish that the comic didn't phase out the other Sega games? When I look at it now, I'd probably say yes. I wish they didn't. But when I go back to its original run, as I said earlier, I didn't really care too much about the non-Sonic strips. So I really didn't care that much when they cancelled the others. It's only in my later years that I've reread them and revisited them, and I've seen so much more appreciation for them than I had before. I really like the Streets of Rage stories now. And I really love the Streets of Rage series, but I never really, even back then, I never really was interested in the stories. It was just literally Sonic and Sonic only. Yeah, it was a cheap thing that Fleetway did, limiting and starting to reprint stories to try to make more money. As soon as they started the reprints, it was kind of the beginning of the end for the comic series. You was just thinking, like, Fleetway having to fight some illusions could be interesting. Yeah, that'd actually be quite cool. If the comic continued after Gilmour, do you think he would have become a good guy? You know, I don't think he would have, you know, and I still think he would have gone back to Robotnik in the end. He's a lot different to Snively, whereas Snively, he wasn't loyal, he just had no choice but to serve Robotnik. He hated Robotnik. Gilmour is incredibly loyal, and you know, regardless of just how badly he was treated by Robotnik, he would have gone back to him in the end. It's, you know, he would have gone back to him. He may have gone good for a little while until he'd eventually, like, you know, turn back and run back to Robotnik. You like how the inhabitants of Mobius were gradually more humanoids? Indeed it was. Some artists draw them more humanoid than others, whereas some kind of kept them more as more animal looking. I have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, however I have read all the spoilers for it and read some reviews for it, and it is very refreshing to see an actual decent superhero movie nowadays, especially from the Marvel side. It looks like it's going to break a lot of numbers in the box office, and I don't think anything being released this month has an absolute chance in hell of going up against it. I really think the Matrix is going to get absolutely destroyed this month. I mean, I think we all knew Spider-Man was going to do well. It's probably Marvel's most popular character, and I know it's a Sony film, but yeah. it's very rare to see critics and audience agree on a good film, and this is like one of the first films I've seen in a long time where the audience and the critics score is very high, and it's great to see. And it's great to see that. I'm not going to talk about spoilers here in the chat in case anyone's planning on going to see it, but from what I've seen, read, and saw, it looks pretty decent and sounds decent. Welcome, Finn Thomas. Yes, so the way I've done the Robotnik videos is confusing. I was continuing the Robotnik series because the one on the run to godhood is technically part 2 of an older video. But after doing that one, I actually realised that I really wanted to do part 1 again, but much higher quality. So that's why I redid part 1. But then I realised that it was too much work. And to do 100 issues again in that sort of quality was going to be about 5-6 hour long video, so I have cut it into parts. So I'm currently working on part 2. Eventually, next year, I'm going to hopefully have the full Robotnik history on the channel. But I hope you're enjoying them. It's funny to how Grimer came to be. Original writers thought they were told to include Snively, and then until they... Yeah. It was originally thought it was going to be Snively, but then they created their own character for it, and I'm kind of glad they did. It's best not to have similarities with other continuities. I mean, I know we had Sally Acorn in Sonic the Comic, but she was a totally different character. She wasn't a princess or anything. How do you think they can still make Robotnik a threatening presence after all these years? Michael Selland is asking. Good question. They had a really good chance of doing it with Sonic Forces, but they blew it. So I'm really hoping that he's going to be pretty decent in this Frontiers game, but we'll see. I mean, let's be realistic here. I don't think Robotnik's been like a serious threat, or at least something serious, probably since Sonic 06, really. Welcome, Memory Music. Appreciate the congratulations and just you dropping by. And you're about to go see No Way Home. Well, I think you're going to enjoy it. As I said, everyone else seems to love it, so have a great time. What do I think about the Chaos design? Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. It's a lot more threatening than the game design, and I like the game design as well, don't get me wrong. Sonic Adventure is one of my favourite Sonic games, but I'm really glad they did their own sort of thing in Sonic the Comic. Yeah, I think that's a good analysis, that Robotnik was destroying the rings and power-up boxes, like he was doing with the star posts, because they slowly got phased out. Yes, you obviously know some of your stuff, Elmer Chan. The plan was Ebony hadn't destroyed Supersonic. She'd actually absorbed Supersonic into her, and she was going to slowly start morphing into him, and his personality was going to slowly start taking over her, and it would have gone on to that. That was the original plan, and you can kind of see that's where they were going, because when you watch the Sonic Adventure... when you read the Sonic Adventure arc, when Ebony essentially destroys like her best friend, which is Supersonic, a character she spent years with, the good Supersonic, she like totally doesn't even seem to care and is just smiling and happy that, you know, Supersonic's dead. She knew what she was doing because she was absorbing him into her, and Nigel Kitching has said that is what the plan was going to be going forward with Supersonic. Unfortunately, we never got it, but yeah. I don't know how strong Super Towers is, so that would be an interesting one to see him fight Sonic. Seeing Gilmour just quit at the end of the comic was a very fun conclusion to his character. Yeah, it was, right. Yeah, it was. But I still really think he would have gone back to him in the end, regardless of it. It's kind of like the Smithers and Mr. Burns thing, you know, so he always goes back to him. It's just, you know. Okay, so we've reached the end of the chat box. This gives me a chance to recap a little bit. So we've been going now for a little over an hour and 15 minutes. Now that's gone by pretty quick. What countries was the comic on sale in? So United Kingdom, for the most part. Some of the earlier issues were released in some other countries in Europe, but it was only more so the earlier issues. So yeah, for the most part it was the United Kingdom, but you know, we did have some in Spain and I think France and Germany. What do I want more? Sonic? Who do you like more? Sonic 3, Sonic 2? Probably be Sonic 3. You found my channel because you wanted to find an explanation on Supersonic. Well, thank you for checking out the channel, Green Man, and I hope you enjoyed the Supersonic video. I appreciate your positive feedback. Favourite standalone Sonic story from the comic? May well be The Big Decision, where Porker quits. That is a standalone story, that is a good one. Or maybe even Smokey and the Badnik, where the Mobian befriends a Badnik and Sonic finds out about it. They're both two good standalone stories. So yeah, awesome story here. Gilmour's about to do a double turn and betray the Drakens. What would happen if Sonic turned super, he never turned evil? It certainly would have made Sonic the comic had a much different approach to what was going to happen in the stories. For instance, we never would have had the Running Wild arc. Defeating Robotnik would have been a much harder task because, of course, Supersonic explodes from the black asteroid, creating an electromagnetic pulse that knocks out Robotnik's whole network. So that would have not have happened if he was good Supersonic. The Brutus arc would certainly have been a lot different. It would have been interesting. Yeah, the Zero Zone was pretty decent. Imagine if Super Shadow appeared. That would be interesting, right? It might be one of the only few characters that might have been able to go up against Supersonic. How long would you say it takes to finish all 223 issues? Okay, so technically you only need to go up to issue 184, because that is where the series ended. Issue 185 to 223 solely just contained reprinted stories, older stories in there. So I think you get the 184 issues done. For instance, this video I've got, which contains all 184 issues, is well, it's quite a while. This video is actually 20 hours 30 minutes long, so you could probably do it in a week or two, maybe. You spend like an hour here and there on it. The comic did promote Knights quite a lot on the Saturn, and even had an interview in there with Eugene Nacker about it, or an article about it if I recall rightly, with a picture of him. And we even got posters in there for Knights. It's such a shame we never got a strip based off Knights, because I think I would have been interested in that one as far as non-Sonic strips go. I think it's one of the closest, universes out there that kind of connects with Sonic the Hedgehog's universe as well. I mean, there's been kind of crossovers here and there. I mean, you had a Knights pinball table in Sonic Adventure. If you feel like Super Shadow is in STC, I feel like he would be someone who is able to master Chaos Energy. Very good point. I think he could. Yes, there was some plans with Grimer, and obviously Dr. Zakari's, he was meant to return at some point as well. It was left open from issue 101. Unfortunately, it never happened. Yes. The Emerald Hill folk would have been doomed if it weren't for Supersonics exploding. Yeah, they used some of these elements in the fan-made continuation. I know that, but they didn't, it weren't obviously fan-made. So the quality is not what it would have been, as if it was wrote by Nigel. Not a problem, Finn Thomas. Glad to help. Knuckles and the Chaotix was adapted awesome in SDC, right? I think everyone can agree with that. And what they did with the Emperor Metallics, it was they really expanded what the game Knuckles Chaotix was, and really, the Knuckles Chaotix game adaptation arc was probably the first game arc that really made it its own thing. It was only loosely based off the video game, whereas all the video game arcs before then, they kind of loosely kept close to what the actual was happening in the games as well. Knuckles Chaotix, it was like, that's it. We're doing our own thing with it. They kept the whole principle of the whole, the Chaotix crews in there, some of the elements of the fighting, and of course we've got a giant red Metal Sonic. Obviously that was the Emperor Metallics. Supersonic's inclusion in the Friday Night Funkin' Sonic EXE mod was awesome. Green Man, definitely. It's great to get more eyes on Sonic the Comic. What if Tails killed Robotnik? Well, it probably would scar Tails for the rest of his life. And yeah. I don't know how that would have gone down. Appreciate the compliment on the matching music up with the the stories. Let's get the words out right here. I do try. There have been many debates, Taiwan, you're asking, on the naming of certain Sonic characters. Which names for these characters do you prefer calling them? So for me, it's got to be the names I'm more familiar with. Knack the Weasel, I always refer to him as. However, Fang the Sniper is an awesome name too. It is an awesome name. I guess it's a bit more of an edgier name, I guess you could say. But when it comes to Robotnik or Eggman, 100% Robotnik. I think it's a much more cooler and unique name compared to Eggman, which just sound kind of... it's fine, but it just sounds... what's the word? Just sort of normal, just sort of nothing special about it. It's just a generic word, you could say. Whereas Robotnik kind of really sounds like a... Obviously, I know it's called robot, and robot's quite a common word, but you've got the nick at the end there, but just having that together, it just looks... Even just how it's spelled, it just looks really cool. I always think a name looks better, more... how do I put it? More dramatic, the more letters from the alphabet is used in the name. And when you look at Robotnik and Eggman, I know it's a bizarre comparison, but it just looks much, much cooler. But yeah, that's just my opinion. If people prefer Eggman, that's fine. I know obviously Eggman is the original name. That's what it's come from Sega America, Japan. To the origin, right? But for me, definitely Robotnik. What is your opinion? The worst third-party thing that could have happened to STC during its run, other than straight up getting cancelled? Could have happened. That's an interesting one. What was the worst thing that could have happened? Imagine if they did a crossover with something that was really cringy and it was really forced. Can you imagine that? Something that's kind of not really liked, and I'm not going to do some comparisons because some people might be fans of some things I might say, but that could be pretty bad. So, I'm currently drinking some Pepsi Max, which is actually one of my favourite soft drinks and drinks of all time. I absolutely love Pepsi Max. If anyone was to get me Pepsi Max as just a gift, I'll be forever in debt. Has anyone seen the Pepsi Max Christmas advert? I don't know if it's the same you get in America, but it's absolutely hilarious. So obviously Coca-Cola is quite synonymous with the Christmas trucks going through, driving. But the Pepsi Max advert shows the Coca-Cola Christmas lorry, truck, whatever, going to a petrol station, I think it is, and then the Santa Claus is being recorded on a security camera, I guess, secretly drinking a can of Pepsi Max. It's hilarious, and that's how you do advertisement right there, while also poking fun at the competition. I know Burger King did something quite similar about 10 years ago, where one of their adverts had Ronald McDonald in an overall, dressed in overalls and disguised, buying a Whopper from Burger King while trying not to be seen. Hilarious. It's just a random, completely random thing I'm just throwing in there. Oh, welcome, awesome jacket dude. It's great to see that you was able to make the live stream. I know you're quite a busy person, especially on weekends, so it's great to see that you had some time to pop in there. Yeah, right, Robotnik fits much better with the whole Badnik thing. And then you've got to think Kinterbor, which is Robotnik backwards, also is just such a cool way of making the opposite character, just spelling his name backwards, but it sounds so different. Oh, I just missed someone here. Welcome, Eliza, Van. I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I might get it wrong, but welcome. Welcome Gorden, Robotnik, yeah. You just love how in STC Robotnik just changes his attire randomly. Indeed, so we're talking about the Sonic Adventure character sort of redesigns. The characters didn't change too much in terms of their designs. They mostly just got different eye colours and a little bit more some extra details on the bodies. But Robotnik, he was like, you know what, I don't need to change my look. I'm not going back. I'm not going to the Eggman look. I'm just putting a jacket on and changing into the adventure outfit, and hey, he's done. In before we get Badman as the enemies. Yeah, exactly, right? Welcome, Evolduda. Hope I pronounced your name right there, but thank you for the positive feedback of saying you love my videos. Much appreciated. Cringy crossovers, always the worst fear, it seems. Indeed, there's obviously a popular gaming series that's out right now, and I can't help but squint heavily when I see some of the crossovers it does. I'm not going to mention it, but you've probably got a good idea what I'm talking about. If SDC was still going, little fat Mario might have showed up in a strip by now. Yeah, right. Jacket is one of a kind. Sounds like a pretty awesome jacket. Favourite villain from Sonic the Comic. Very kind of you to put Mr. as well there. Appreciate the formalities. It's got to be Dr. Robotnik. If I was to say not Robotnik, it would be a tie between Emperor Metallics and Commander Brutus. What do you like more, the modern Sonic games or the older Sonic games? It's got to be the older ones. Huge nostalgia for the older ones. There's some pretty decent modern ones, don't get me wrong. I know a couple of the more recent ones have been real pants. Originally, they wanted... okay, so you're kind of right, Elmer-chan. You're kind of right, but it's not entirely accurate what you're saying. Nigel Kitching proposed the idea back in the Shannon's arc when Kintobor turned back into Robotnik, and it would have been a great opportunity for them to turn Robotnik back into his original form. It was going to be that as opposed to the adventure arc. So it was like a year or two before it, but Sega didn't want it. They wanted to keep him in that form, and that is why he stayed in that form. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad they kept him in his Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog form. And that was Nigel Kitching, that was the one that suggested that. Thank you very much for the impression. Compliment on my Robotnik impression. Yeah. I can't do it too regularly when I'm recording that because it does fry the voice. But I quite enjoy doing it. It's quite funny to shout in a different impression. I always used to really love doing impressions as a kid. It's pretty awesome to be able to do it in an actual video that people enjoy. You know, I got one comment which made me laugh. Someone said that your voice of Robotnik sounds too much like Vegeta as opposed to Robotnik, which I thought was quite funny. Yes. So, Frontiers, Green Man. I've talked about it a little bit. It looks interesting. I'm hoping they can really deliver on what they're kind of promising. But with Forces being pretty disappointing, I'm going to wait until we see more details on this first before the game comes out. Hopefully it will be a success. You know, if it's essentially Breath of the Wild but Sonic, I mean, that would be awesome. I mean, on paper, that sounds incredible. If Shadow appeared in STC, it would be very awesome, right? Richard Elson's design for Shadow, it would be a great way. And I think the Sonic Adventure 2 arc in Sonic the Comic would be really awesome as well. Again, thank you very kindly for the feedback on Robotnik impersonation Tangler God. I really appreciate it. The Marxia brothers, I think, are still running the chemical plant zone. Did Sega start the ball on the comic, or were they approached with the idea? No, it would. Well, I'm pretty sure it was obviously Sega that originally commissioned it, and but the comic was originally only commissioned for, I believe it was 6 issues. That's all they commissioned. It was only going to be 6 issues long, or originally Fleetway, commissioned whatever. Obviously, the comic sold very well, and it continued, and it became what it is today. Yes, there was potential plans for Big and the Drake and Fish. Drake and Fish was eventually going to kind of be like what Froggy is in the games to Big. That was Yes, I do think the fan continuation did do Sonic Adventure 2. Open world games are a huge gamble. Agreed, because it's a tremendous amount of work to get it done right. It's very much a big thing now. I think kind of Breath of the Wild really kicked this trend off. Obviously, there's been open world games before, even GTA, for instance. But since Breath of the Wild, we've had a lot more open world games that are like that. And let's really hope that they can deliver on it. Crystal Robotnik is awesome, right? I absolutely love this form of Robotnik. Totally agree with you. It's a shame he was only used in 1 issue, but yeah, he's awesome. It's very detailed, especially with the colouring, when this was one of Richard Elson's first strips where he was learning how to do digital colouring. Yeah, I have no idea what the chemical plant was used for afterwards. Maybe it was used as a power source to produce electricity to the planet, maybe. And if we're going back even further, then what became of the flock? That's another question right there. So this is, of course, the very controversial Amy origin story, which does have a lot of plot holes and doesn't make sense, but it's pretty funny to see. The artwork's good in it, at least, and we can all agree with that. Yes, I remember your comment on the extra life box being Shadow. I think that would be an awesome idea. Reintroduce a character that already exists, that happened years ago, similar to what they did with the Drake and Sentinel. That was a character that was used in a really early issue, and it was brought back into one of the newer issues. I think it would be really awesome. I think some people maybe not agree with it, that idea, maybe not. Some people would probably prefer more so to how he was brought in the game, but I really like the extra life idea. Welcome, Sonic and the Bean Show. Appreciate you dropping by here. Sonic and the Bean Show is one of the very first subscribers I had here on the channel. He's got some really awesome Sonic toy hunt videos. They actually really inspired me all them years ago when he was doing them to do some of my own. They're really cool. Such a shame we can't do Toys R Us ones anymore. But no, it's going really well, thank you, and I hope things are going well for you too. Definitely people should check your channel out. You've got some really awesome content. So when I'm not posting videos, what things do you like doing in your free time? Oh dear, I really wish I had more free time. I really do. Unfortunately, I have a job which takes a lot of my time up. If I didn't have that job, I'd be able to do a lot more retrospective videos quicker. But when I'm not doing the chores of reality, I just enjoy, if I'm not socialising with some of my friends, gaming. Gaming's cool, right? I love gaming. I also, bit of a generic answer, but I do like exercising as well. I try to keep as slim as I possibly can, and yeah, I'd say that's it's things I interesting like to do. You like how STC struck a good balance between game adaptations and its own thing? Yeah, absolutely, right? Sonic the Plush Hog, you are a little bit late. We've been going nearly 2 hours, and I will be wrapping this stream up soon. But you're not late enough that the stream is over, so welcome. I don't really read comics anymore, Plush Hog. I really don't. I might keep up with some of what's going on in some of the other Sonic comics, but I don't go out of my way to read the whole things. Nowadays, what I read is probably more so manga as opposed to comics. So what else from the STC years interests you in popular culture? So what was I interested in around then? Around that time and other things. I was quite into the Batman films around that time. I actually really was into Batman Forever. Around that time, definitely would have been around the Sonic the Comic time. Probably wasn't into Dragon Ball yet at that time, because it hadn't started airing here in the UK, but it would have been around close to when Dragon Ball started airing, and I really started getting into that, and still am today. Any Sega series you'd want to see a Fleetway inspired adaptation of? Yakuza would be pretty interesting, right? I don't know how they'd manage how they would manage such a mature rating game in a Sonic comic. It'd be interesting, but yeah. I always wanted to see Alex Kidd. I thought that would have been really awesome. Of course, I already said Knights. maybe even Hatsune Miku, right? Can you imagine that? Green Man, you're asking, you wanted to join at the start of the stream, but you're an hour late because you wanted to get some donuts. Well, you don't need to make any excuses for donuts. Because donuts are cool, right? If all the Sonic comics had a crossover, what do you think would happen? It would be interesting, right? It would be interesting. Obviously, I could see them all having to team up to take on like a massive threat. You know, like maybe all the Robotniks have joined forces and made some super powerful god monster thing, and everyone's got to stop, and it's tearing the fabrics of reality apart. Maybe, I don't know. Yes, Sega did do a deal with Fleetway, obviously now Egmont, back in 2013. We actually got a magazine out of it. I still actually have it in one of my storage boxes. We got like a Sonic magazine. It was full of goodies. It didn't have Sonic stories or anything in it. It was more like just a general, I think it was mostly like about video games and trivia and stuff. But yeah, it comes with some free gifts, stickers and stuff, I think. I remember when that got leaked, that it was like Sega and Egmont have done a deal. It was like, oh my god, like, are they doing Sonic the comic again? What's going on? And of course, it wasn't. It was just some computer game magazine, unfortunately. If there was a super version of Knuckles, that would be pretty awesome, right? I gotta admit. So this is kind of like an origin prequel story to Tales, and this is done right. This is how I think a prequel story is done. This is so much better than what we got with the Amy prequel story. Because in this one, we still have Tales, who's like, you know, coming to terms with that he's not like as normal as the other foxes, because he's got two Tales, so he's getting picked on and bullied, and then he overcomes some of his fears and does what's technically right, I guess you could say. I love how SDC uses the Kintable origin story. Yeah, I really love the Kintable origin story, not just essentially because of Sonic the comic, but the whole original, you know, Sonic Bible thing from that era. I think it's a really cool way to introduce the character of the Robotnik. I'm glad you're happy that the channel's come this far. It's pretty awesome, right? It's great. I couldn't be more happy to see the channel growing as it is. It was a much quicker growth, growing from 10,000 to 20,000 compared to 1 subscriber to 10,000 subscribers. We went a lot quicker from 10 to 20, so maybe going from 20 to 30, it will be even quicker. Who knows? I'm not in control of these things. That's you guys, the fans out there, that make these things happen. I couldn't be more appreciative. If Fleetway did a Pokemon comic, that would be pretty interesting, right? They did. We was potentially gonna get a Mario the comic here in the UK. I did do a video on it a few years ago. There was only a couple of pages that was done for it. Yeah, we did get some Batman gifts in some of them. We also got some Star Wars gifts as well. I did like Star Wars as a kid. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I wasn't into it as much as some of the other kids. And I enjoyed some of the older films for what they were worth. You know, I never wanted merchandise or toys from it or anything. I just watched the film and, you know, moved on. And when I look at it now, I'm really glad that I was never a die-hard fan and huge fan of the franchise when I see just how much Disney have ruined it. Green Man is the Donut Lord. Indeed. You sure your real name isn't Tom? Yeah, that's right. We did get a Mega Man and Sonic crossover happen for you folk in America. Wow, so you've been a fan of the channel since 2013, MO759. You're going way back to when I actually first started, when I wasn't even called Sonic the Comic Reviews then. Appreciate you being a fan. You're one of the oldest long-time fans of the channel. Yeah, back then I was just creating random content here and there, and doing some merchandise figure reviews, some anime figure reviews. And then it wasn't until the person that was doing Fleetway Sonic the Comic videos at the time, which was called Sonic King 08, I believe, he quit making Sonic the Comic videos. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do my own ones and I'm going to upload them, and then it kind of becomes solely the Sonic the Comic channel that you see here now. But yeah, I appreciate you. You're a long time subscriber and I really appreciate it. They did a Sonic vs Mario comic series. I don't know about that one. Or at least I haven't read it. Something else I love, that STC Robotnik actually changed his form from a giant egg. Yeah, right, it's an awesome story of how he changed his form. He is literally the only actual Eggman, even though he never used the term Eggman, and he's not called Eggman, but he is literally a real Eggman. Why is he called Miles? Well, because he is miles per hour, you know, miles per hour. That's the reference right there. If you could change one thing about STC, what would you change? Well, obviously, other than the series ending. There's a few tweaks here and there. I would like to have seen the Drake and Empire return. They needed a conclusion arc, definitely, I think. I also really would have liked to have had the Revolution arc done as a main story and given the full 7-page treatment. Don't get me wrong, I was really happy with what we got with the Revolution arc, which was the Brutus taking over Mobius arc. But it was greatly overshadowed by the Running Wild arc, which was in the same issue. So I know they had to get the Revolution arc done around that time because Sonic was going to be trapped in the Special Zone shortly after in the main strip. But I really think the Revolution arc deserved to be a main story treatment, as also Nigel Kitching did a fantastic job on the artwork in there, but I would love to have seen how it would have been done with a 4-part story, 7 pages an issue, drawn by Richard Elson. That would have been incredible. That's, yeah, little niggles here and there maybe that I would change. Interesting that Mobius is around technology and the Nameless Zone is realm magic. Indeed. What if Archie and Fleetway made Pokemon comics? Interesting. Pokemon Adventures is the STC of the Pokemon series in terms of story. My favourite Pokemon is actually Gengar. I'm really not familiar with, you know, I don't really keep up with Pokemon nowadays. I kind of did drop off it quite a few years ago. But so I'm not too familiar with some of the newer generation Pokemon. But yeah, Gengar was always my favourite. We did get a Sonic Ruler. I used to use it too. Yeah, we've got quite a lot of Pokemon comments in here now, courtesy of Alma-chan. Can I do a review of the Supersonic and Metal Sonic statues? Yeah, I think one day maybe. I'm pretty sure I did the Metal Sonic one actually years ago. I think it was actually one I did years ago. So maybe check the channel. If you just put Metal Sonic statue in the magnifying glass on my channel, you might find it. I don't think I've done the Supersonic one, but yeah, maybe one day. I don't think much people would be interested in such an old statue being reviewed, but who knows? Imagine if the West had kept the Japanese character designs in the box arts. Yeah, we would have got drastically different designs, right? When you think of the cartoons like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sat.AM, they would imagine that in the Japanese style artwork. It would have been really, really different to look at when you think of it in your head, right? You're glad you found the channel because the only thing you knew about STC was Supersonic. Yeah. Well, thank you, Green Man. And you'll note at the beginning of my Supersonic history video, I do mention that some people do actually think he's a fan-made character. It's pretty interesting when some people are like, what, this guy's actually official? He is indeed. And then the Friday Night Funkin' mod come out, and you wanted to find out more. You and quite a lot of people did. That video got like over 100,000 views in a couple of weeks, so a lot of people were interested in finding out about Supersonic. Lugia is a great Pokemon. Do I prefer Lugia to Ho-Ho? Yeah, I'd probably say so. You'd love to see Richard Elson do his own take on all the classic Sonic games box art. Yeah, can you imagine that? What made you quit? Oh, I didn't quit for any particular like reason, like, you know, like for instance, like the fandom made me quit or anything. I think I just kind of grew out of it and moved on. I think I just got a little bit bored. I think the last one I properly played, this is how long ago we're going back here. I suppose I did get Let's Go Pikachu, but I only bought that one solely because of the nostalgia values to it. But the last one I really properly played was Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I did get, I think, Black and White, but I never finished it. And I never really, I couldn't get into it. So I don't think there's any particular reason like why. I don't know, I just kind of lost interest in it. For those curious, I actually am a bit more of a fan of Digimon, to be honest with you, and I actually more enjoy that franchise more than Pokemon. You found my channel 2 or 3 years ago. Well, I appreciate you sticking around for as long as you have, Sonic the Plush Hog. What if Fleetway Supersonic showed up in the game? Would be a great character, right? It would be a great antagonist for the characters to deal with. A protagonist, sorry, I should say. How would Fleetway, Robotnik and Tails have looked with their original Japanese game designs? It would be quite interesting, right? Because Robotnik would, of course, been in his classic Eggman-shaped character. Seeing new people discover STC with Supersonic in the STC mod. Yeah, I absolutely really enjoyed it. I know it got a little bit of controversy because I didn't really know too much, but there does seem to be a fair amount of people out there that dislike the Friday Night Funkin' series, and they don't like it when there's crossovers and then you see things like this character is now ruined such and such because he's in here. But you're going to get out of anything. I'd say like 90% of the feedback and people who have come from FNF has been positive and have enjoyed it. Conclusion to the Nameless Zone arcs. Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad we still got that one where there was peace made between the goblins. But it would have been great to have seen more from the Nameless Zone arc. Absolutely. Soul Silver, I believe I've got. Plush Hog. How would Fleetway Robotnik's backstory have been based? I don't really know. I guess they couldn't have gone with the Kinterball route. I guess they'd have just had to have gone with that he is an evil man and wants to take over the planet. And not really give him too much of a backstory, I suppose. Just the fact that he's evil. Welcome and thank you for the positive feedback. Appropriately named Sonic the Hedgehog. I see you there. You loved the vids, so thank you kindly. Favourite Sonic the Comic story? I'm going to say it just at the moment because of what we're on. Probably the Robotnik Reigns Supreme arc. It's definitely one of my favourites. The first video you watched 4 days ago, the history of Fleetway's Supersonic. And that video let you know a lot more about STC and Supersonic. But I'm glad you learnt as much as I hope you can from that video. I tried to do it, at least at the time, as best as I could. But I'm really glad you enjoyed it. So here's without a doubt one of my favourite issues from Sonic the Comic. I absolutely love the Showdown arc. The conclusion to Robotnik Reigns Supreme. Welcome Mecha from the 80s. Personally, you don't like FNF, but it's neat seeing an unholy amount of characters get modded in. Yeah, exactly, right? You see, that's a great way to look at it. You don't need to have to be a fan or really like the series, but it's great to see what can be done from it. Why does Fleetway's Sonic art style look weird compared to Sat AM? Well, it went with its own thing. The art style at this point in the comic series was the upward spike Sonic design, which was loosely based off the cover artwork for Sonic 3 The Blast, which is where Sonic's spikes were pointing upwards. And that is the form, the upward spike Sonic, which would take, for this part of the comic's life, before they would go down again, the spikes would go down once we reach the Sonic Adventure arc. But when you look at Richard Elson's art for the earlier Sonic strips, they're very much more closely based on the original game counterparts. One thing you would have personally loved to see is a Tails Adventure. You know, I had that game on the Game Gear. It would have been interesting seeing him going on another adventure. I liked some of Tails' stories from before issue 100. I actually really liked the Zone Runner arcs, which were some of Tails' very early strips. I've never actually played Cuphead. I've watched some videos of it though. And it looks fun. Linear E Sanic is asking, could you summarise the stories of Sonic the Comic into videos? Like summarise 2 or 3 issues in one video. It's certainly something I've considered doing in the future, and I think, you know, when I've maybe finished retrospectives and stuff of characters, I think that might be something I might look into doing. So it's a good idea, and thank you for the suggestion. What eyes Eggman would have in Sonic the Comic is a debatable one there. He may have normal eyes, or it might be black voids. How did I first come across STC? I can remember this very clearly. I was in a post office and there was like a magazine rack, and I was into Sonic the Hedgehog a lot at that time. Playing, well, it was 94, so you'd have had Sonic 1 and 2, and I was really into those games. And then I remember seeing issue 27 for Sonic the Comics, got a very bold cover with Sonic, big Sonic head holding the 1 up on his glove. And I remember seeing it and I was like, oh my god, I really want this comic. And my parents bought it. And then I, of course, absolutely loved it and fell in love with it. And that is the origin story of how I got into it. That's how I come across it. Indeed, in some angles, Sonic may well be confused for looking a little bit like a Christmas tree. You've heard that the F&F fandom is mostly toxic kids, so you stopped playing. Well, I guess you could say that about some fandoms from other series. I really don't know too much about fandom from F&F, I really don't, so I can't really say. You've been here since the very early days and you never knew that Sonic even had a comic series. Because of you, you have over 250 issues of the comic. Well, I really appreciate your kind words and kind feedback. I really appreciate it, and thank you kindly. Yeah, the evolution of STC is another video series that I will eventually finish. It is coming. I just wish I had more time. These retrospective videos take a long time, honestly. They are hard work to put together, and I'm not against hard work, but some days I come home and I'm just so doggone tired that I just can't talk or have the energy to do a proper retrospective talking. It is going to happen one day. I will finish it because the first part did get quite a bit of attention. I've got so much material that I've got to do on the channel, trust me. There's endless amount of content, retrospectives, and you can see suggestions I've got here for videos. If we can talk one day, I would be in your own comic series and I'd be in it. Well, I appreciate it. There's a Discord link in the description of this video if you want to join the Discord. You can contact me on there as well. There might be some delays between me and messages because I'm not online as much as maybe some people, but I will get back to messages eventually. A funny scenario you have in your head is that when Robotnik resurrected Sonic's old adversaries, he spawned Super Sonic. Now that would be a really good idea. And that's one thing we never actually or at least I don't think I've ever actually thought of that, but Robotnik could easily have spawned Super Sonic from his own imagination. Imagine if Fleetway Sonic lasted a bit longer. Yeah, can you imagine if we got to 2011, which would have been like an extra 10 years? Would have had some great characters in there. Indeed, we never saw Lord Sidewinder again after this. This was his final appearance. That is Knuckles' necklace. Knuckles wears a necklace here in the Sonic the Comic continuity. It's not actually a part of his fur. It is a necklace in Sonic the Comic. Let's see how fast you can really reach 20k. Well, we're already on 20k, so we're going to see how fast we can reach 30k. That will be awesome, right? Interestingly, the algorithm has actually picked up one of my Robotnik videos from earlier this year, the On the Run to Godhood, the journey of Dr. Robotnik, which I'm quite surprised with. and it's getting quite a lot of positive feedback. I mean, admittedly, the ordering of the videos is a bit of a mess. How I've got part 1 and there's no part 2, and that is technically part 3, but it's great, honestly. I'm getting quite a lot of positive feedback from that video now. Would you rather be able to reread STC? That would be awesome, to erase the entire story from my head. I'd like to do that from a lot of things, to revisit and redo it again. That would be awesome. But I mean, who would not want to live in the Sonic the Comic world? I'd take that any day. One of the favourite panels is when Robotnik's eating the chicken, and it is interesting, right? He didn't leave Grimer one bite. It's probably why Grimer's quite skinny. Do you consider the Fleetway comics to be canon? Well, technically they are canon, but they're canon to their own continuity. If it's been officially endorsed by Sega and it's got the Sega license of approval, it's official. That's licensing. That's how it works. It's official. That doesn't mean that it's canon to the games, because it's not. It's canon to its own continuity. You know, like the Archie Sonic comics is its own continuity. The Archie comics are canon to its own thing because they are officially endorsed by Sega. Fan-made projects, whatever, whatnot, are not, because obviously they are not endorsed by Sega. You know, that's the best way to consider it. So they are canon to its own continuity. Did Fleetway and the European box arts misread Knuckles' in-game sprites? Indeed they did, because the question you're asking, S85D94, the concept artworks that were shown for Knuckles for the character to be in it was very, very low quality. Very low quality. It was like tiny sprite type quality they were shown for Knuckles. The quality was so bad, the writer and artists for it, which would have been Richard Elson and Nigel Kitching, didn't even know what colour he was, which is why in the very first issue Knuckles appears more pink than red. That is why there is the error, and also why he is wearing a necklace and it's not a part of his actual fur. And they decided to keep it as a necklace instead, as opposed to changing it back to his actual fur instead, which I think is a pretty cool idea because it makes it more unique as well to Knuckles. But I'm glad they did change him to red as opposed to keeping him more pink. Have you ever played Sonic and Knuckles? Yeah, it's one of my favourite games. Sonic and Knuckles is awesome. Alfredo. What we got here? Thank you for joining Sonic the Hedgehog. Appreciate it. Catch you later. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you kindly again for the super chat, Spyro. It's pretty awesome. We've had 3 super chats now during the stream, and that is incredible. Thank you kindly. What are your thoughts on some of the Sonic TV shows? I really like the 90s Sonic cartoons. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog I really love. I'm really excited to see that they're releasing Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog on Blu-ray next year sometime. However, unfortunately, I see that it's only Region A, and for us folk here in the UK and Europe, we are Region B, so it looks like I can't even get it and play it, so I'm a little bit bummed out of that. But I also really like Sat AM, and to be fair, even during its original run, I quite liked Underground. It's not my favourite. I really like them all. I'm not a huge fan of Sonic Boom. I quite like Sonic X. But I think the cartoons with the most that can be rewatched again and again is definitely Sat AM and Adventures. They're the two that I would rewatch the most out of all of them. Skeptical on Netflix's Sonic show, cartoon, whatever they're doing, because, you know, going to be realistic here, a lot of Netflix adaptations are garbage. Just look at what they did to Cowboy Bebop. They butchered it. So we're going to wait and see how Netflix does this Sonic Prime. How did Robotnik and Grimer have food and technology? Well, I guess we can't have answers for everything. Maybe they've got their own animal farm or something down in the caves, and they kept some chickens down there. Welcome, Neon Exits. Appreciate you dropping by. How often did STC publish issues? So it was actually weekly, every 2 weeks. Which is why Sonic the Comic got to a really high issue count a lot faster than what Archie did, because obviously Archie was monthly, and Archie was only one story per issue. Whereas I think sometimes it might have been 2, but 3. But yeah, it was every fortnight for STC. Thank you for joining the stream, Plush Hog. He says you're going to quit now and maybe join. I'm going to be wrapping this up very soon, so we may well not be live when you return. But I appreciate you dropping by. How do you think Fleetway Supersonic would fit into Sonic's game lore if he was canon there? How would it fit in? I think it would have to be like some sort of it would need to be like some sort of rift in time or something, and he's brought in from the Sonic the Comic world. Maybe something like that. Maybe something like what they've done with the new Spider-Man film, you know, bringing in other universes, characters and stuff. That would be pretty cool. That's just an idea I've got in the back of my head quickly. Thank you very kindly again for the super chat. The 4th super chat we've had now, Taiwan. Really appreciate your tremendous generosity and support. It says you're about to head out, but thank you again. And if I don't get the chance to see you, I hope you have a great time over the holiday period. Thank you. Imagine if Sonic anime came out in... Well, technically the OVA is anime. And that came out 95, so you're not too far off. But yeah, imagine if that was like as a series instead. You wish you'd bought the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog DVD. Well, I'm really hoping, fingers crossed, that this Blu-ray set's going to get a Region B release as well. I wouldn't put money on it happening, but I really hope so. I think it's pretty awesome that they've, from what I read of the details, it's got a load of extras on it, and it's got really cool box artwork, and all 65 issues and the Christmas film are on it, and they're only on 2 discs, which is incredible. That's a lot of episodes on 2 discs. Just hope it's not going to be a US exclusive. Such a shame that it's only Region A. I really was hoping to import it. So I don't really celebrate Christmas, Green Man. That's not because I have other beliefs or anything. I just don't really have much interest in it nowadays. So I will probably just be chilling out that day. I may well even do a stream here on YouTube. I did one last year actually on Christmas Day, like a gaming stream. I played, I believe it was Sonic R. So you never know, I might pop up Christmas Day for a little quick gaming stream. But appreciate you asking, and I hope you'll have a good time over the Christmas period. Yes, Kingdom Valley is an awesome theme song from 06. To be fair, a lot of the soundtrack from Sonic 06 is awesome. It really is. No, I'm not Jewish, S85, not at all. I used to, well, obviously as a kid, used to really enjoy Christmas and the whole, presents and whatnot, but, just, I guess you could say I got older and miserable and just, I don't really care for it. Yeah. It's fine, I let people enjoy it how they want to enjoy it, and I'll just enjoy it how I want to enjoy it. If I do a stream on Christmas, I'll be there. Well, I hope to see you there, Green Man. Yeah, I'm fingers crossed. There should be a stream Christmas Day. Grimer was an awesome solo villain. I mean, when Robotnik had seemingly been killed after, Robotnik reigned supreme, he did an awesome job taking over the prison, releasing again Metal Knuckles, and even defeating Sonic and capturing him and using the information in Sonic's head to find out what had happened to Robotnik. I mean, Grimer could have killed Sonic right there and then, but instead let him go because he thought that honor deserves to bestow upon his true master, Robotnik. Welcome, Saito. Where can you get Fleetway Sonic comics? Unfortunately, nowadays, the only place you can really get them is eBay or maybe Facebook Marketplace. That's probably it. Will I buy the new Knack toy? Yeah, I think I've seen this. I'm going to certainly have a little look at it. We've got some pretty cool merchandise coming out. I can't believe we're actually getting an Omega figure. A character that we've not seen in properly for a long time. So we've been going now amazingly 2.5 hours. I was only originally planning on going for about an hour, so we've gone over double the time. But it's been a lot of fun sitting here and chatting with all of you guys. It's been a very fun Saturday evening, especially for the occasion of celebrating for this 20,000 subscriber celebration. So, how do I feel about the online continuation? To be honest with you here, I think you're about the 6th or 7th person that's asked this in this stream, but that's okay, because I think you've just joined and you missed out earlier. I'm not a big fan of the online continuation, as I've never really been a big fan of anything kind of fan-made continuation for any sort of, there goes my pen, anything. But I can certainly respect that the people behind it are obviously very big fans of Sonic the Comic, like we all are myself, and they have a lot of passion behind it, and I can really respect that they do love Sonic the Comic. But of course, anything fan-made, it's not going to be to the same standards of quality of what the original official one is. So, yeah. Have I seen the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog Robotnik plush on a Discord server? Okay, so someone's made one. That's pretty cool. Sometimes you can see some of these fan-made Sonic plushes. Some of the quality's really good on them. You can come across some where it's like pretty bad, but some are really awesome. Thank you for joining the Discord, Green Man. And welcome back, Sonic the Plush Hog. We are still live. Yes, we'll be wrapping this up very soon. Well, of course those characters didn't appear in Sonic Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, because most of them didn't exist. They weren't even existing then. You gotta think, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog came out in 1993 to 1994, so characters like Ray, Mighty, Knuckles didn't even exist at that point, or they were just about to come out. And Tails was in every episode. When will I write my own Sonic the Comic continuation? Oh dear. We'll add it to the long list of jobs that I've got to do. But it would be a cool idea one day. Maybe when I eventually have got no other material to work with on YouTube, I'll do it then. And it would be cool. If I can quit my job, I'll be able to do it. And I'll be able to spend a large amount of time on it. But it could be something that could be quite fun. I'm not gonna lie. How did I become a fan of Sonic in general? That's a very good question. I think some of my friends around the time, or people I just got into friends with, were interested in Sonic the Hedgehog, and one of my cousins at the time was also playing the Mega Drive version of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I used to really love playing that game, and I never got a chance to play that version that much. I had the Master System version instead. So I always used to be really excited when I was able to go around that person's house and able to play that. So I guess it was kind of word of mouth and being exposed to the Sonic the Hedgehog games, which have been around Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 time. Yeah, so I don't know an exact date where I really got into that franchise, but I know it would have been around those sort of general ideas of people I was surrounded with being interested in it. You've always wished that the first Sonic games had more characters, especially, well, yeah, but sometimes when you've got too many characters in a game, it can be a bit clustered. Thank you for the congratulations, Storm Retro. I really appreciate it. Yes, 20,000 subscribers, and it's great to see you back here on YouTube. Have I played Mega Man X? That's the latest one, isn't it? Is it X? I think so, because I think that's the one I've got on the Switch. Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great game. Yes, someone brought this up in another stream, MO759. There's another STC continuation out there, and it's on DeviantArt, and it's different. Isn't it awesome that we've got all these different fan-made continuations out there? It just goes to show you how big some of these fans are out there, and good for them. Imagine if Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sat AM came out later in '96. Then you may have had more characters in it. Storm Retro, you haven't been watching too many. Oh, no, that's fine. I appreciate you just stopping by and checking out. It's great to see you popping by. And I hope all's going well with your studies. So I have checked out some of the IDW comics, Alfredo. So I am familiar somewhat with them. What do you think STC would be like if it had released in 2016? Yeah, it would have been greatly watered down compared to what we got in '93. It could have still been awesome. It could have been they could have done something quite good with it, but I don't think it would have had that magic that it had during the early to mid '90s to late '90s even. 2001, of course, the series ended. Favorite character, Sonic the comic character, other than Sonic, it would be Robotnik as well. Awesome choice of character, Bonehead. Imagine if real-life friendly scientists like Robotnik... imagine if, I guess you're saying, if real-life friendly scientists, I guess, had an accident and become Robotnik in a lab accident. Yes, indeed, this is Mighty's father, Blockhead Bill. Your studies are going great, got some great grades. Well, that's good to hear. And some sweet maths test results. That's awesome, glad to hear it. When is the stream ending? Soon. I don't think I'm going to go on much longer. But as long as some questions keep popping in, We'll keep going for a little bit longer, but it's not going to be too much. Would you have liked having black eyes, Robotnik, that Robotnik had straight after the accident? I don't know, to be honest. It's interesting because in some issues he was depicted with just having black void. I don't know. I'm kind of okay with both, to be honest with you. I'm not too picky with that. Thoughts on Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2? Yeah, they're brilliant games. Two of my favourite Sonic games, especially the first one. I absolutely love those games. I honestly think they've aged really well as well over the years. Wish you could have joined the stream. It doesn't matter. It's cool that you've managed to pop in now. We've actually nearly been going for 2 hours, almost 2 3/4 hours. Yeah, it looks a little bit like a Charmander, right? Although technically this would have predated Pokemon. So I should be back tomorrow with another video. Hopefully have a couple more videos up before Christmas, which is a week today. Amazingly, that's come around quick. New Year's Day is, of course, 2 weeks today. Right, it's come around quick. No, they're not random panels. This is actually issues we're going through. We're actually up to issue 134 at the moment. So the video I've got playing in the background is the issues playing in consecutive order. So, you know, issue 135 will come next. Least favourite Sonic game? Tough question, because there's been a few ones that have been a bit... Don't know about least, so I'm just going to give a selection of a few that I'm not a big fan of. So, Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric. The first Sonic Riders I don't really like. You know, this might be a bit of a controversial one. It's not like an awful game, but I'm not a big fan of Sonic Colors. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like the worst, but yeah. And there's a few others I can't think of the top of my head, but yeah. Yes, if McDonald's, well, it's a shame that the McDonald's have changed their merchandising for the Happy Meal toys. Now, honestly, they suck, because it's like, you know, they don't have plastic toys anymore. Now it's either like a soft toy sort of thing or a book. You know, who wants a book with a Happy Meal, especially if you're a kid? If they still had proper plastic toys, That would be awesome to have a movie promotion, especially for Sonic 2. The previous Sonic promotions that they've done in McDonald's and Burger King have been awesome in the past. If Pokemon had come out in 1991, it certainly would have been interesting to see what the difference would be today. The Eternity Ring arc went on for a bit too long. Yeah, I agree, but I guess it was Lou Stringer's way of making Amy and Techno go on, different adventures anywhere in the universe, essentially, in any time zone. Neither did Chow Mix like Sonic colours. That almost made him quit the Sonic franchise. No, I'm not going to cover the Archie comics. There's enough channels out there doing it. I've read enough of them. I used to own quite a lot of them as well at one point. But I'm not going to go into others. As I said, I want to kind of keep this channel solely on Sonic the Comic. When I first started this channel, I was literally pretty much one of the sole channels covering Sonic the Comic. Now there's quite a few more that have popped up since then. But when it comes to the Archie and the IDW stuff, there's so many other channels covering it out there. And that's great. Okay, well, that's interesting to know. You're very lucky, because here in the UK there's a new law that, well, I don't know if it's a law, I guess it's just McDonald's whatever doing stuff, but we can't have plastic in Happy Meals anymore now, not in the UK. Yes, I know, we suck. If you got a Happy Meal here in the UK, you would be bitterly disappointed with what you get. So it's great that you folk in the US still have real things. Cheesy Bread is asking, do I like cheese? I do like cheese. I try not to eat it very often though, because it's very bad for you. Far too much fat in it, but you can't go wrong with a margarita pizza. But again, try not to eat this stuff too regularly. So you're actually a McDonald's employee. Well, that's pretty awesome. McDonald's is actually one of my favourite restaurants and eateries to go to. I absolutely love McDonald's. As I said with the whole cheese thing, I try not to eat it like every other day, but I do like it. But it's great that, yeah, pretty good. If you're in America, oh my god, the portion sizes of the McDonald's in America is so much bigger than what we get here in the UK. When I went to America a couple of years ago, I was shocked at the size portions. Like, a large portion of fries here in the UK is like a small or a medium size to what you get in the US. It's the same with the drinks as well. What would you do if Fleetway Supersonic was in a Sonic game? I think it would be pretty awesome, and I'd be happy to see it. Did the STC writers make things up as they went along that could be why the plots get dragged out? Nigel Kitching was always very formal with what he was writing, and he always had a plan with what he was doing. He always he got annoyed when people called his stories filler, because he actually took quite offence to that, because he took someone saying one of his stories as filler was as if it was something he wasn't trying very hard with, and it was just like a throwaway story that he didn't really care about, and to just fill the gap until the next main story. He always said that he put everything he had into every story he was writing. He didn't like have lazy days where he didn't care what he was doing to just fill gaps. He literally wrote everything to the best of the quality of what he could do and what he thought was great. So I don't think he just, made it up as he was going along. He had a clear vision of what he was going to do with the story. The thing about the Archie comics is they've been covered so much I couldn't find out about SDC sooner. Oh, well, there you go. You live in the Netherlands and you still have plastic Happy Meal toys. Well, that's great. Come to the UK. We can't even get plastic straws anymore in this country. Sadly, your phone died, so you had to put it on charge. Well, no problem at all. Welcome back. It's great to have you back, Storm Metro. Living in the Netherlands has some ups and downs. Yeah, I think most countries do. Yeah, that Running Wild preview animation's awesome, right? Can you believe? I'm sure it's like 10 years old now. It's crazy. It was like one of the really old YouTube videos. So it's not entirely made public why Nigel Kitching was fired, but it looked like it was, from what we've got, disagreements with the editor. Yeah, the editor at the time, yeah. It doesn't look like they've got any problems now though, because I've been to several conventions and both Nigel and the editor, which was responsible for it at the time, Deborah, were literally sitting together laughing and chatting, so there's no bad blood now or anything. How come the UK has no more plastics? I'm not going to get too much into political stuff because no one wants to hear me talking about politics. No one really cares, but as Spires put it, environmental reasons apparently brought in by our government that we have here in the UK. And that's all I'm going to cover on it. You've always liked shorter stories that were planned out. They were straight to the point. Imagine if Dragon Ball went to Bardock to Goku Jr. I don't know. I think I'm the opposite. I kind of prefer stories that are kind of dragged out a bit. Not essentially like full on and, really dragged out so it's boring. I'm not a fan of Dragon Ball Kai. I'm much more a fan of Dragon Ball Z. I feel like it was almost relentlessly rushed forward, and there was no. I think you need a downtime moment from a big fight to a downtime before it builds up to the next one. Just having a huge battle, or whatever, ended and going straight to the next one. I wasn't a big fan of that, and they actually even cut quite a bit out of the manga in Kai. I'm not a big fan of Kai. So I don't know. I'm kind of a bit more of a fan of. You got to think the Metallics arc in Sonic the Comic was so what are we working at? 16 parts long, which I think is the longest story for any story in Sonic the Comic. And it never at one point did it feel like it was boring, because there was always something interesting going on, and you had all the Chaotix and Knuckles and whatnot in it. Was STC going to have some underground stuff? From what? No. I've never heard Nigel or Richard talk anything about the Underground series. I don't think they probably even know about it. I don't know about Sticks the Badger episode with the towel. Yeah, the running animation never got finished, right? Maybe one day. I know the creators of it have said that one day they would like to finish it. In life, the hardest thing ever is finding more than 2 Sonic items in stores. Yeah, it can be challenging here in the UK. Thankfully, Sonic items are popping up in some shops nowadays. We have a toy store chain called Smith's, and it's actually pretty awesome. It's a bit like Toys R Us back in the day. It's a little bit like that. So they're quite big stores with lots of toys in them. There's this video I want to watch, but I can't watch it later, so I'm staying on the stream. Don't worry, Green Man, we will be wrapping this up very soon. I think once we hit the 3-hour mark, which I can't believe we've managed to get to, we are going to wrap this up. Yeah, I'm not usually a big fan of parodies, so I'm not a big fan of Team 4 Stars abridged series, but I can understand why some people really do like it. Is there any way you can support me? Well, I really appreciate you even suggesting that. I've got, obviously, if you really want to, you've got the super chat option, and there is also donation links in the description, but that is completely voluntary and no one has to donate to me if they don't want to. Just you being a subscriber and just coming on the channel and hitting that thumbs up button is more than enough support I could ever ask for anyone coming here on the channel. If anyone wants to go any further than that, donate, whatever, then you have my eternal gratitude. But all of this sort of stuff is completely optional. I'm never going to come on here and, you know, beg. And I can promise you now, you're never going to come on this channel and you're going to see me talking about Raid Shadow Legends for 5 minutes before you get to a Sonic the Comic video. Getting a bit off topic here. But yeah, honestly, just being on here, a subscriber and hitting that thumbs up is supporting the channel more than you know. I'm assuming a bunch of people have already asked this, but what's your... No, actually, no one's actually asked that question, Storm Retro, amazingly, and I think he actually does a pretty decent job. To be honest with you, if I didn't know it was Idris Elba voicing him, I would never have guessed that that was Knuckles. I mean, I know it was quite rumoured that it was either going to be The Rock or even John Cena that was going to voice Knuckles originally. But no, I think he sounds pretty decent in it. What is your favourite Fleetway Sonic comic? Issue 27. Okay, so the ages of the Sonic the Comic characters is a bit of it can be a bit of a confusing one, because technically the characters have aged in Sonic the Comic because the characters use terms like, oh, this happened years ago. So technically they're not at the ages that they are depicted for like Sega games. So Amy is not 12 at this point in the comic series that we're watching right here now. But there is no, you know, it's never depicted what their true ages are, but we do know that they have aged. It's a kind of clever way to get around it, you know. So they have aged, but we don't essentially know the real numbers, but they are older than the very early issues. That's the best vague answer I can give you, Elmer Chan. Thank you for subscribing on the new account, Storm Retro. Yeah, Raid Shadow Legends, right. Is it interesting when you see money talks, right? And people want to sell out, and they can do it. Yeah, this comic stopped 20 years ago, so we're a little bit late to the party, but yeah, the comic ended 20 years ago. Welcome Firebender 15. You just catched us at the tail end of this stream, but appreciate you dropping by. Yeah. NordVPN. Isn't it annoying, right? You block the adverts out, but there's no way you can block adverts out of when the actual channel itself is talking about, you know, talking about the product itself that it's trying to force you to essentially buy. But then again, characters in Archie and IDW don't age. Well, I guess that's their thing, right? We know that the characters age in Sonic the Comic because they refer to days, months, and years. Okay, so I've just noticed we've hit past the 3-hour mark. So that's pretty incredible. I was only planning on doing about an hour, but we had a pretty active stream. So I'm going to wrap this stream up right now, but I appreciate everyone for coming along and joining this live stream. It's been pretty awesome. I don't know whether people prefer having the chat box on the actual video itself, but I guess it's a way for people to see themselves here on the video. So I'm probably going to keep this video public for a little while. So for some others that might want to catch up on this video that weren't able to join this live stream, and then I might privatize it afterwards. But I'm going to have it public for a couple of days. So yes, thank you everyone for joining the live stream. Thank you very kindly for those that actually super chatted as well. Much appreciated. I should have a video up tomorrow, and if so, I will also be able to see you in the week. Once again, thank you very kindly. Thank you for making the channel hit 20,000 subscribers and 7 million video views. I can't express my gratitude. Again, like a broken record here saying the same things, but I really do appreciate it. It's incredible. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, whatever it is you're going to be doing. And I will catch you again very soon. All the best, guys.